Maybe. So welcome. It's my pleasure to narrate to you another selfie fishing adventure. This time I went with my friends to Port Hope. We decided to fish for salmon on the Ganaraska River. So basically, this was last fall. We launched, there's a boat launch close to Lake Ontario. And then we basically took a small inflatable boat upstream, about maybe 2 kilometers. And then we fished mostly around and under a bridge, basically. So it's a car bridge, a pedestrian bridge that runs over the Ganaraska River. And that's the main area that we fished. And it was an epic trip. We had some interesting things happen, and you'll hear about them in the video. So this is me and my friends, walking upstream. So we took the boat, I guess, in the deeper portion of the Ganaraska, closer to Lake Ontario, but then it gets really shallow and rocky. So we just got out of the boat. We started dragging the boat behind us. Again, a beautiful, beautiful town of Port Hope. You can see the salmon swimming upstream. I don't know if it's that visible now, but it will be in the future videos. And it's just a beautiful place. And we had a great time walking upstream and admiring the beauty there. Obviously, we had waders on. The Ganaraska River actually runs through the town of Port Hope, and there is like parks on both sides, and you can go and watch the salmon run, even if you're not fishing. And some people were watching us. Unfortunately, um, I can see the salmon running there. What had happened is, prior to us arriving, the city council in Port Hope had actually closed salmon fishing from the shores because they were scared of COVID. So they had asked people not to fish from shore. But we did check with the police, and they said it was fine if we took a boat. So if we took a boat from Lake Ontario, boat launch, and we basically took the boat upstream and then walked or waded in, there was no problem there, as long as we didn't access from the parks on the shore. And so we did that. And you can see the salmon there swimming upstream. But unfortunately, that didn't stop a lot of the town residents who were, watching from the shore, from yelling at us, screaming, threatening fines, threatening to call the police. And a lot of them actually did call the Port Hope police. The police did come down. They did talk to us. We explained to them the situation. To be honest, the police were very nice, very understanding. They said, you're doing the right thing. We're supporting you. These people are difficult people, and they just like to complain. And they stood with us. But they said, if the people call the police, we have to come, and we have to at least pretend we're doing something here. So they came a few times. They talked to us, and just to keep the town residents happy that when they call the police would be responsive. But I guess they don't have anything else to do in Port Hope than that. So it's unfortunate that people were that mean. And this gentleman you see on the right in pink, he couldn't stop screaming. It's okay. This part of the adventure, I guess. Once we got over the the comments, we loved the trip. We enjoyed it. The amount of salmon we saw was unreal. Big salmon, swimming upstream. You can see, literally dozens of them in front of me here. And in this particular clip, I'm fishing this pool that had maybe 30 salmon. I've hooked up to a really, really big salmon, and I'm obviously thrilled. You can see the bend on the rod. And this is, a few minutes in, and this salmon is still fighting like crazy. I can't even move the salmon. It's the salmon that's pulling me. Like I'm walking wherever the salmon wants me to walk, right? I can't move this fish. I can't reel it in. It's just too strong. Even though it's hooked, it is still swimming upstream. It's still trying to swim upstream, make the run, as if it wasn't hooked, which is just incredible, along with all of its other salmon, right, in that same pool. You can see how dense they are, within that pool, and the number of salmon. So there it is there. So even though it's hooked, it's still very strong, swimming upstream, very healthy, strong fish. So I'll just leave a few minutes here to admire the view here of all the salmon, swimming up. They basically call it the ladder because it's a series. They're swimming not only upstream, but you're also swimming up a series of small waterfalls. So the salmon actually they swim from pool to pool. So at the base of each waterfall, there's a pool. They'll swim into that pool. They'll rest for a bit, recover some energy, and then they'll use that energy to make a run. And then that run will give them enough momentum to actually jump over the waterfall. So just incredible to see a fish, 20, 30, 40-pound fish jump out of the water and over the falls. And you'll see a few of them do that in this video as well. So right now you can see the salmon are gathered in the pool, and in front of them there's a fall. To swim upstream, they have to actually, get over that fall. So every once in a while, you'll see one of the salmon make a run, and eventually make it actually over the fall, right? So here I am. I get a bit too ambitious. This is maybe 15, 20 minutes into the fight. It was an epic fight. I decide, I want to try to grab the salmon by the tail. So I try to get close to the pool and grab the salmon. I tried many times, but every time I got close, that salmon would see me and would dart away. And I didn't want to risk losing the fish. So in the end, I do give up. But it was fun to try for sure. So you can see me again trying to reach the tail of the salmon, but my hand is not long enough, and that salmon is too strong for me at this point in time. So I bring it in a bit, and then I try to grab it, and it darts out a bit. And you see in front of us, it's maybe not that visible. There's actually a bridge, and a lot of tourists are standing on that bridge watching us. So it's a big tourist attraction in Port Hope. And even if you like nature, even if you don't like fishing, you just want to see the salmon run, you want to admire that beautiful sight, go down to Port Hope, and there's lots of access points, lots of parks, lots of bridges where you can stand with great visibility to the river and just watch the salmon swim upstream. Even if you have kids, it's a beautiful thing for them to witness. So it's very exciting, and Port Hope is a beautiful city. They have lots of nice shops, restaurants, hotels. So I mean, it's a really great family vacation. And again, if you're a fisherman, even better. So here, my friend Omar Extreme Outdoors. He doesn't have a YouTube channel yet, but if he does start one, I want to give him a shout out. He's one of my best buddies and fishing and adventure partners. So he's trying to help me now, get the fish. So again, he's looking. He's trying to find a good time to grab that fish. He sees better than me. He has polarized sunglasses. He can actually see very clearly into the water and see all the fish. And so he's kind of sizing it up and trying to get a good opportunity to grab that fish by the tail and bring them in. So he tries a few times. Unfortunately, he's not successful either. So we just decide to wait it out. And then the fish makes a run. So instead of going upstream, it runs downstream. And I'm basically forced to chase the fish downstream. So I start with the cameraman walking down the Ganaraska River towards Lake Ontario, trying to catch up to my fish, who's now getting away downstream towards Lake Ontario. So I try to keep my line tight. My drag set, not too tight, not too loose. So I keep the fish pinned, but at the same time, he's not able to rip the line. You can see that fish again, losing a bit of energy, being swept by the current from the upstream pool to a pool that's more downstream. So again, towards Lake Ontario. Again, I'm following the fish, walking along the shore. Again, trying to land that fish. Again, super exciting. Again, the adrenaline is pumping. I'm about to catch one of the biggest fish of my life here, so I don't want to lose him. So I'm very careful. I can see that the equipment I'm using a very long rod, which is very useful for absorbing the shocks of the fish, keeping the fish pinned, as well as for doing drifts. So what a drift is, you're using like a very small hook, a piece of cloth, which is it's actually the bag of the it's a like kind of a cloth bag that you put the bait in. In this case, we just use the bag, even though you could put salmon roe or fish roe in there or eggs. And then we use a small split shot just to get it down a bit. You let it drift, upstream to downstream with the current, and right in front of the fish's mouth as they swim upstream. And this is how I hook this fish. I'm using light tackle. Even though it's a powerful rod, the line is only 8-pound test. It's very thin line. Again, we're trying to finesse the fish. We don't want them to see the line. Again, trying to keep the drag fairly loose, let the fish run if it wants to run. But at the same time, because the rod is so long, it can bend to keep the fish pinned and keep the hook in the mouth of the fish, so you don't lose the fish, and it doesn't break the line basically. So it absorbs some of the shock of the head shakes and the maneuvers that the fish is making to try to get away effectively, right? So you can see the rod is quite bent. The fish is swimming in circles, swimming upstream, swimming downstream. It's doing its best to try to get away. But again, I'm staying on the fish, staying beside it, keeping the line tight, the rod bent, and absorbing all the shocks. So I keep the fish pinned. You can see them very clearly in this shot here. The fish trying to get away, swim upstream, and I'm keeping with the fish at this point in time. This fight was an epic fight. I mean, lasted almost 40, 45 minutes, and that's really the beauty of salmon fishing is that if you catch a bass or a pike or a perch, I mean, the fight is a few seconds, to a few minutes. But if you look into one of these 20, 30-pound salmon, you could fight it for almost an hour, right? So it's an epic fight. It's very exciting. Your blood is pumping, and it's very good exercise because this fish is basically taking you wherever it wants. It's taking you upstream, downstream. I may have walked, half a kilometer, after this fish or after other fish as well, uh, in terms of staying on the fish. So it's very, very exciting. And and the beauty of this, as you chase this fish around, is you get to see all the other fish, right? You get to see them swimming. Again, not just small fish, but huge fish. You get to see them, climbing up the ladder, and just admire the incredible beauty and strength of these fish. So again, you can see that salmon, um, still very active, strong. This is like 30, 40 minutes into the fight, and this salmon is still going strong. And my friends and I are wondering how am I going to land this fish. It just won't give up, right? It's I don't know if I caught the fish or the fish caught me. You can see the length of the rod. This is a 10-foot rod, and even though I have a huge rod, and the fish is still in charge, if you will, in control. And I'm just holding the rod and letting the fish do basically what it wants to do. So at this point in time, the fish is starting to get tired. This is about 40 minutes into the fight. You can see the fish kind of struggling a bit. We managed to get it onto a hump, and then finally we managed to drag it from that hump onto the shore. Again, the fish is still struggling, so I decide to sit on top of it so I can subdue it a bit, and also get the hook out of its mouth. Even when with me on top of it, it's still struggling. Almost got away. Almost twisted its way back into the water, but I managed to pin it down. And now I'm going to try to unhook the fish. Again, you have to be careful. These salmon have quite sharp teeth, so you really should bring a pair of pliers, which I think I forgot to do. So I'm gonna improvise here. I believe I do use a small rock to try to unhook the fish. Not the best idea, but lesson learned. Come prepared. You can just see the incredible size of that fish, right? As it struggles on the shore. So I'm super happy here, as you can tell. I couldn't believe I caught a fish that size. Like I love fishing, but obviously not every day I get a fish like that. So I finally, my friend is kind of helping me out here. I'm untangling the line from the fish because it got a bit tangled. I'm now gonna unhook the fish. So try to get the hook out of the fish's mouth. So again, I'm not too worried about keeping the fish out of the water a long time here because we're harvesting this fish. So this is a fish we're going to eat anyway. So it's gonna die anyway. So I kind of get the line entangled. I forgot my pliers as I mentioned, so I'm gonna grab a rock. First I try with my hands, which probably wasn't the smartest idea considering the sharp teeth the fish has. And you can even see the how small the hook was. So just a very small, like size 8 to size 12 hook with a small piece of cloth on it, just to simulate salmon eggs, basically. That was it. Just a very, very subtle small bait, and the salmon were very active. They were going for that. And again, see, I'm digging a rock here. I think in the end, I'm not able to take the hook out, so I end up using the rock just to cut the line, basically. Um, and I think that was the best option, and we took the hook out later. So finally got the line out. I'm gonna lift the fish. This fish was super heavy. I had a hard time, as you can see, lifting it up. You can see compared to me how big that fish is. Incredible. It was an incredible catch. Probably one of the biggest fish I ever caught. Super happy. This is all of us, my friends and I, heading back to the boat launch, basically. So we obviously this is the deeper part of the Ganaraska, closer to Lake Ontario, and some people fish this area as well. And this is the fish we caught. And thank you so much for watching.